Harshit, I hope I'm audible. Can you start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So, I,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So I welcome you all for the last session of our FDP on Agentic AI. For the last session of today, we have Dr. Mahipal Jadeja sir with us.
Okay. Thank you, Harshit. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So, yeah, I can see it's visible. Okay, fine. So, very good evening to all of you. So, today we will be talking about nothing but core aspects of, I should say, prompting. And of course, we'll relate afterwards that why prompting still matters in agentic AI era. So let me just try to motivate you first. Before I start, I would just like to know how many of you can recall what embeddings are. If someone can just write about it in the chat box, then I would appreciate. Right? Any ideas about embedding? Right? If you can recall, then we had talked about this on day one itself, day one, as well as I guess afterwards in the session of Dr. Anukruti, this word came. Right? Okay, convert text into numbers. Okay, partially correct. Yeah. Any other answers? Text representation like in vector form. Yeah. So if we combine last two answers, then it makes sense. Yeah. Anything else which you would like to add? Okay, so in that case, I would like you to showcase one visualization, just to kind of motivate you. Importance of nothing but I should say embedding and how embedding will eventually help us with respect to I should say correct or sensible responses of LLMs in some sense, and why prompting matters in between, right? So that's the first objective of my session. So let me just try to focus on this particular uh, visualization. Of course, this is not a proper picture with respect to embeddings of different words, because in real the dimension of embeddings are extremely high. Like usually it's around like 10,000, 14,000, even more than that, right? Initially, if I'm not wrong, ChatGPT 3.5, this was disclosed that what is the dimension of embedding. We can quickly check also that what is the dimension of embedding vectors with respect to, let's say, ChatGPT 3.5. I can just ask over here dimension of embedding vectors for ChatGPT, let's say whatever 4.0 or 3.5 in terms of vector length. Okay. And then quickly we'll get the response, right? Whatever it is. Yeah. So you can see 1536, right? That's related to embedding size. And again, there are some other numbers also like 1536. Apart from that, 3072, right? Depending upon model, the size varies. But let me just focus on some number. Let's assume that number is too big, like 1536. So for human eyes, it's very much difficult to kind of imagine this 1536D, right? We can just feel and imagine up to 3D only, right? Nowadays, also like many of the theaters and kind of amusement parks, they have this kind of setup where you can feel the idea of maybe 6D or 7D, but for human eyes, right, we can kind of process smoothly 3D only, right? So this is kind of very much complex. So for simplicity, what I have done, I have reduced it to again 3D. But still, the essence will be covered. So let me try to just focus you what will happen with this. Again, this is very much simplified version with respect to, I should say, visualization, because if you know properly, then we talk about embedding of tokens, whereas over here I have considered embedding of nothing but words, so that things makes more sense. But what will happen with respect to this embedding values? Let me just try to focus on that part. So now, if you focus on this purple words, let me try to rotate it somewhere over here so that we can see purple colors properly. So you can see those colors are corresponding to, those points are corresponding to similar type of words like artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, graph neural network, right? Data science. These are similar words. And what model has done is like we have different algo kind of, I should say, methods using which we can come up with nice embeddings like this, like including word to vec or glove. But for now, let's ignore that part. But what is happening afterwards, let's focus on that. So after applying those kind of models, we can see that similar types of words are coming together, which makes sense. For example, teaching and classroom, they are together. Similarly, creativity, storytelling, right? If you focus on this particular segment, which contains a lot of pink colors, then you will see that is corresponding to creative part, like cinematic writing, storytelling, creative expression, so on and so forth. Similarly, if I go to some different segment, then I will get yellow points, which are corresponding to nothing but I can say medical science, like medical imaging, and then diagnosis, hospital, patient, treatment, planning, so on and so forth. And the core part about this visualization is that I guess that Dr. Anukruti had mentioned about this, that direction of this particular embedding space represents nothing but meaning. So one of the direction which we can sense over here is nothing but gender direction. So for example, if we focus on this particular setup, and let's just go over here. The famous example is, let's say you are over here with respect to I can say representation of this particular point, which is corresponding to nothing but king. So if you subtract the gender direction from the king, then you will land to a point which is very much close to word, which is nothing but queen, right? So this particular direction, right? I am trying to move the pointer that represents nothing but I can say gender information. And same thing we can feel with respect to, I can say, what will happen with respect to distance between woman and man, or maybe father and mother, right? So same direction we can sense that though with respect to distance of these two words in this particular big universe, I can say, right? So that is kind of captured with respect to that particular direction. So in summary, what I'm trying to highlight, one important point over here is that direction captures meaning. So now the straight away the first question will come that if direction captures meaning, then there is a major issue with respect to this setup, because even if we go for this particular direction dimension, let's say 1536, then we know that okay. So before I kind of disclose, let me just ask you, how many perpendicular vectors I can have in my dimension 3? Can anyone tell me? How many perpendicular? Why I'm focusing on orthogonal or perpendicular vectors? Because they won't have any similarity between them. So that means I am trying to capture different ideas. How LLMs and eventually agents will become intelligent if we can provide more directions, because every direction will capture some kind of meaning. And if we can somehow convey the kind of our end goals meaning with respect to this intelligent systems, then we can achieve what we want, right? So therefore, it's very much important to understand and appreciate this. So my question is, how many orthogonal directions or orthogonal vectors we can have with respect to, let's say, dimension n in general, but let's talk about dimension 3. How many different perpendicular or orthogonal vectors you can think of? Any ideas or guesses? I'm also checking the chat box simultaneously. Let me see in case of any responses. You can just guess some number. It's okay. Even if you are wrong, no issues. Infinite? No, infinite is not the correct answer, ma'am. Mm, 3, yeah, absolutely correct, Dr. Manisha. With respect to dimension 3, we can get only three exactly perpendicular orthogonal vectors, I can say. If it's too much to imagine for you, you can just imagine two dimension and then you will get the answer. Or in simpler words, I can just say, just refer to one hot encoding, right? All the vectors of one hot encoding, they will be kind of pairwise, I can say, nothing but orthogonal. And if you have n dimension with respect to that, then let me just give you some simpler vectors like 100 010 001, right? These three vectors are we can say perfectly orthogonal, and then of course you can apply any kind of scaling mechanism to generate more number of vectors. But the trick is, like Sangeeta ma'am has mentioned, infinite. So number of vectors may increase, but my question is towards the direction. So with respect to direction, the direction will still point to this C only, right? 001, 010, 100, right? So ultimately, we can just capture three unique ideas which are kind of orthogonal in the nature, right? So which is two less. So that means even with 1536 number or maybe 3072 number, there are major issues because we can represent only 3072 different, or I can say orthogonally kind of I can say extremely I can say perpendicular with respect to ideas or directions. That number is still very less, right? The complementary idea, if I am saying, then also it's very less, this particular number 3072, because then that means we can talk about only 3072 different topics with respect to LLMs, right? And then LLMs will fail miserably if we go for this particular if only this much is true, right? Whatever I have discussed so far, it's true, right? And nothing is hidden so far. But there is a kind of I can say there is a new concept which hasn't haven't been covered in this particular FDP, the concept of superimposition, right? So what's the idea of superimposition? That if we consider purely orthogonal vectors, then that particular number is true, right? Whatever we have mentioned for n dimension, we are going to get only for n dimension. Let me just write down so that you can also read. For n dimensions, we are going to get only n orthogonal vectors, which will capture directions, right? Different directions, orthogonal directions, and therefore meaning, right? But if we talk about nearly orthogonal means let's allow this value, that 88 degree to let's say 92 degree, right? I don't have that particular I couldn't find that particular degree thing over here, so I'm just writing star over there, but just read it as degree, right? Nearly orthogonal vectors, then how many we can fit with respect to this n dimension space and y, right? So because of this particular interesting property, I can say that we can kind of LLMs are LLMs. Yeah. So you can see, you can just read the first line. In n dimensional, you can have only n exactly orthogonal vectors, which we have discussed so far. But you can have exponentially many vectors that are almost orthogonal. Let's say we are just allowing this fine kind of liberty, right? With respect to 90 degree, we are just allowing this flexibility. Let 88 is also allowed, 92 is also allowed. Then this becomes exponential, right? So that means it's that this particular concept says us that and with respect to cosine similarity, again, why we are using cosine similarity? Because we are talking about how similar the underlying two words are. If they are close, then we'll put them very close in our embedding space also. So because of this, now we can have exponentially many ideas to be represented in this particular big universe, right? So that's the core thing. I'm not going into the details that kind of its proof and so on and so forth. That is beyond the scope of this particular discussion. But this is the fact which I wanted to convey. So that means, and I have created one visualization also. So then you will be able to relate with this even more. So let me just try to go there, not this. This will come afterwards. Yeah. So over here, as you can see, if I am increasing my dimension, so for now the setup is good, like 1536. Hopefully you can see the right side of my screen. Yeah, it's visible. So let's focus over here. You can see dimension 1536 and how many directions you can pick with this particular number 1536. You can see 26.5 billion random directions we can have, right, with this particular setup 1536, mainly because of this exponential behavior. And now this setup is similar to whatever I have mentioned, but there will be some kind of issues, like for example river. So river can be associated with our normal river also, right? And when we talk about word like river bank, right? So whether we are talking about financial thing or whether we are talking about something related to river, right? So those kind of issues may come, but I'm not talking about those things right now. But let's focus and appreciate this. So if I increase my dimension, then you can see that the number of directions are increasing, and that means we can capture more, I should say, more number of meanings, and that's what we want, right? So that's the core idea about this particular dimension. And if you check then later on that if I am not wrong, then recent models they don't disclose the dimension also, because if dimension is one of the most important parameter now, because if it is more, then it's naturally more number of ideas will be able to be captured by LLMs. But of course there will be some thresholding on that also. But usually this is the idea. We can see that number of ideas which can be, or number of directions which we can have, is increasing exponentially as we increase the number of dimensions, right? So that's the first thing. Now let's go back to my visualization. So now, if we don't use proper prompting, then what will happen? Imagine this is kind of big universe. Purposely, I have kept the background like that, right? It's black, right? So these are kind of your stars. And whatever tasks you have, we are trying to reach to a particular point which captures kind of different meanings together, all together, right? So that's what we want, right? We want to reach to a particular point which has all the expertise which we need with respect to solving a particular task, whether we are going to use agent or normal LLM. This thing is true. So now let me just give you some insight. What will happen when when we write a prompt with respect to this kind of movement in this particular embedding space? So let me write something over here, and let's see how this particular direction thing will move in this particular universe. So now let me try to write something like write a creative story about let's say data science, which involves medical science as well as concepts from um, royal entities like king and queen. Right? Even though the sentence doesn't make much sense, but this is just to kind of, I should say, uh, give you the intuition that how kind of the underlying space will change. Right. So let me just try to zoom out and go ahead with this particular setup. Yeah. Just a second. Yeah. So uh, yeah. So now you can see how. So let me just go a couple of steps first. So and you can see some kind of yellow thing is appearing. That is nothing but our path. And now let's analyze this path after a couple of iteration where it has been reached and how it's capturing kind of directional meaning from different domains. So as you can see, currently we are over here, but we started from over here, right? You can see it's very close to cinematic writing. Then that's where we started, because we stated that write creatively, right? So that was the idea. And now we are moving in this particular direction. Why that is happening? Let's try to understand it. For now, we have reached somewhere. Let me just try to kind of complete this sentence. Then only it will make more sense that what will happen with respect to the entire sentence. You can see from where we started and where we are ending, and then we will be able to appreciate this even more. So if I try to zoom this, and then you will be able to see this here. So you can see we started from this creative writing, and then we move towards this direction, and you can see the same direction also has these things, treatment planning, medical imaging, all those things. And in our prompt, those words will also coming, if you can relate, right? And then towards the end, it was that we are over here somewhere, right? So in some sense, if you analyze this properly, we don't have that much time, but if I give you this picture, then you will be able to appreciate that how it tries to capture kind of directional meaning with respect to different data points available in this I can say nothing but 3D visualization. But things will be more I can say the directions will be more aligned and specific when we talk about the actual like 1536 dimension representation. For now, it's 3D, so it may seem slightly confusing, but still you may get the idea that what I'm trying to convey, that which each word we are moving with respect to different direction, and direction will combine the meanings of different words in some sense, so that we can get the required intelligence. For example, if I say assume a role of let's say expert, let's say I can say cardiologist, along with expert in let's say Python programming, then basically what it will try to do, it will try to capture a direction of good programmer along with direction of extremely good cardiologist, and then we get somewhere in the in the universe a point which is closer to both the things, right? So that's the core idea about prompting. So we need to have this kind of navigation. Then only we will be able to reach to a expertise location which can resolve or solve our problem, right? So now usually what we do, we write very vaguely, and then we complain that AI is not working properly, but that's the wrong thing, because we don't know the correct way of interacting with the system. So that's what we are going to focus in this session. So the first thing, which maybe I can just go to my presentation for now. So yeah, so I will talk about this afterwards, but let's just go to this. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing which I would like to highlight is that a good idea is something that does not just solve one single problem, but rather can solve multiple problems at once, right? Many of the times we have observed this with respect to our research. We come up with some kind of solution or model, and we thought we are designing this particular solution for the underlying problem, but later on we discover that with the same kind of phenomena we can solve multiple other problems also, right? And then it's a fantastic solution. Prompt engineering is the same thing, right? If you are good with prompting, you will be able to do a number of things. Not only you will be able to communicate very nicely and accomplish a lot with respect to LLMs, but you will be able to also design very nice your own chatbots like custom GPTs. That is also possible. And if we go one more step beyond, then your agents will be also as compared to others will be super powerful if your prompting is good. Yeah, even though let's say prompts have been generated by let's say AI, but if we know the idea behind a good prompting strategy, then we'll be able to refine the prompts which have been generated by LLMs and make them even more relevant and powerful, right? So that's the motivation for this idea and talk. So now the first thing is, just like agents, we must have end goal in our mind. But how many of us think something like that when we reach to this kind of platforms like ChatGPT? How many of us think what we would like to have towards the end of this particular interaction with respect to outcome of this, I should say, chat thread, right? So if we can imagine our outcome with extreme clarity, then we can surely get it, because then only we'll be able to guide our LLM to reach that particular point in the universe which has the required intelligence in order to answer the question, right? So, but the first step is, therefore, we must take a pause and we must visualize that what is the kind of I should say the uh, overall outcome, expected outcome from this particular system towards the end of the interaction, right? So as you can see, if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended upon it, then I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper questions to ask. For once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. So it's about focusing on, I should say, importance of solving I should say, in other words, let's say if some problem is given to you and you directly start solving, you must not do it. You must understand what's the crux of the problem, what's the core issue which you can solve, then you will be able to solve that particular problem, right? So that's what we are trying to emphasize in the context of prompt engineering also, right? So yeah, some issue is that, just give me a second, right? So I have some different versions of this. So let me try to download the last version of this. So then it will make more sense. Yeah, just a second. Even though this is fine, but yeah, I had done some kind of changes. Okay, yeah, fine. This is fine. Yeah, okay. So this is about the first idea, that we must visualize what we want with respect to prompting. And this is also true with respect to life, that if you know what you would like to achieve, then you can achieve it for sure. So, and just like agent, in the case of agents also start their journey with goals, right? So that is that. Now, this is extremely relevant. Asking the right question is as important as answering them, because we have these intelligent systems, LLMs and agents who are going to work on behalf of us, but we must tell them what to do properly, right? So just like any mathematical function, let's say f of x is equal to 3x plus 5. Outcome purely depends upon value of x. If I provide x is equal to 1, then I'm going to get 8. But if I provide x is equal to 2, then I'm going to get 11, right? So in the case of Chat GPT or Gemini, or even in the case of Agent, your input is nothing but your prompt, right? So if your prompt is correct, if prompt is defined, if it's aligned with the I should say nice frameworks. I'm going to talk about one of the prompting framework today, right? But you can use anyone which you are kind of comfortable with. But it should make sense, and it must have all the properties which I'm going to talk about right now. Yeah. So that's that. So this particular slide just focuses on the importance of asking the right question. That means drafting proper prompts. And the last and the most important one is the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. But not only that, whom you ask these questions to, right? Just like different, I can just say different LLMs models we have. Similar to that, we also have different kind of individuals in our life who can guide us. But when we talk about a particular task with respect to prompting, then it will look different, right? So what I'm trying to convey over is, let me take one example, then this thing will make more sense. So usually when we talk about prompting, we write very vaguely like this, that my blood pressure is this, suggest me something, right? So this is how we write. Just like we do search on Google, right? We just mention the context, that this is the situation, suggest me something, and that's it. And then we won't get the desired good quality response for sure, because it's like there's a big library and you are asking question to librarian. Librarian has knowledge of kind of all the books, but the knowledge is kind of vague, so it's not going to give you any kind of expertise opinion. So over here, I'm not saying the response is kind of bad, but it's not that useful for sure. You can see the depth. In terms of depth, I'm just getting only this kind of four segment, and each segment gives me roughly 3 to 4 different kind of pointers, right? So roughly around 20 points I got in terms of length, and I didn't get any clarity. But now, the first rule is always think about the best person to solve this particular task. So who is the best person in the world, right? Who can guide me in this particular situation? So that I'm going to write over here. That assume a role of cardiologist having experience of 25 plus years, and you give detailed lifestyle changes advice to your patient, especially related to heart, and the rest of the thing is similar. And now exactly same, I should say, the rest of the thing. So now you should be able to see the drastic difference in terms of response. First, it's before giving any kind of suggestion, it's just interpreting the kind of situations or statistics, right? And then it's starting with the suggestion, right? So first suggestion itself contains around 10 pointers if you count, right? Then second pointer, third pointer, right? Up to this point I can see that the response length is identical to the previous, right? And that means afterwards whatever I'm going to get, that's bonus, right? If I compare this with my previous response, so you can see point number 4, point number 5, 6, 7, right? So many things I got, right, with respect to the same setup, same situation, but just by adding the persona, my kind of LLM become extremely intelligent, because just by writing this particular thing, it reached to a place in the universe, that particular virtual universe which I'm talking about, where the intelligence of cardiologists is there in some sense, in terms of its training, I should say. Yeah. And then we are navigating it. We are also adding these things, that lifestyle changes advice it you must provide. So both the things will be added, and then it will guide me with respect to my query, right? So that's the power of good prompting, that just by again, this is, I'm not saying this is the best prompt, but remember that every time, and also remember that not necessarily whatever persona you are going to provide, those persona must exist in real world. You can have many of the tasks which you are planning to do, many of the agents which you are going to design, they must have expertise in multiple domains. So you can just mention that you are expert in domain 1, domain 2, domain 3, right? So on and so forth. And before going to kind of talk about your actual task or the problem. Yeah. So that's the first rule which you should remember and apply also. Right. Okay. So let's continue. So that was the first idea. Okay. So let me try to close the irrelevant tabs now. Yeah. Okay. This is also not required for now. Okay. Okay, so this is about this, and I've already given you this example, which is present in this particular slide, that if your prompt is generic, then results will be also generic and structured and incomplete. Yeah, and prompt is good, then we can see that we directly can see the impact of it. Okay, so now let me just talk about one beautiful framework which I am using since last 2 years, and it's very easy to remember also, right? Because the name is kind of very much easy to remember, and all of us as faculty members and researchers and students can relate with this particular word, which is nothing but create. I've already explained the first part of this, which is nothing but character. You must always assign persona to your model. Request part, I don't need to explain because you are good with telling your issues or kind of guiding the model with respect to completion of a particular task. You can describe what you want. That is obvious. Everyone can do it. One of the most underrated aspect of this is examples. If you have performed that particular task earlier with your own intelligence or with the help of AI, you must provide the corresponding example. So then the responses will be even better. So that is examples. Some kind of adjustments will be required. I will talk about it in a while. Type of output also matters. Many of the times we would like to have kind of just caption of Instagram, but we are the model is giving us one kind of paragraph or vice versa, right? And sometimes we would like to have a response in terms of lytics file or in terms of table, but we are not getting it because we are not mentioning it, right? So therefore it's important to include type of output beforehand, and there will be some extras also. So let me give you one generic example so that you can relate with this very much. So this will be slightly long prompt, but if you can recall from the my previous session that you can also dictate it, so you don't need to worry about length. So let's try to understand how create framework works with respect to this particular problem. What is the problem? Let me just explain it. Let's say you are alone at home and you would like to come up with a nice recipe, right, for yourself. And you could, so you can say, sir, it's very easy. Why we are kind of writing this much? But there are several issues with it. If you do like that, then maybe you are vegetarian is suggesting you non-veg or vice versa, right? So then it won't work. And maybe let's say I'm vegetarian and suggesting me something related to veg, but ingredients which are required to prepare that particular food dish may not available at my home, right? So therefore, direct asking something can say the desired output in this particular case, which is nothing but novel recipe which I can try at home. So before I go ahead, I should ask who is the best person on the earth who has expertise to solve this particular problem, right? So I'm just starting with this. You are Indian chef with 20 plus years of professional experience, but you are also good with global food design techniques or food preparation techniques. So that's the character part. Then in the request part, I'm just saying first ask me what I have, right? Don't give me anything. First, I'm just telling it to ask me what ingredients I have. Examples part are interesting. I would like to have recipes. Those who follow, they know that these are famous Indian chefs, Sanjeev Kapoor, Vikas Khanna, Gagan Anand, Vinit Bhatia, right? So we are just saying that take inspiration from this great Indian chefs. Then these are extras. Like we live in India, not in UK, so we want measurements in grams, not in pounds. So that is mentioned over here. The next part is extremely important. Select only the ingredients you need. This is to kill assumption of AI. If I don't write this, then AI may assume that whatever ingredients I'm going to provide, it has to use it. So then it will mix all of them, and then the recipe or the food item which is going to be kind of prepared, it won't be eatable because it's just mixing all the things which I'm going to say. So to kill that assumption, I'm just saying select only the ingredients you need. There are many of the times people compare AI with friends, so that is not true. You must convey your whatever your intuitions and intent is there properly to AI. With respect to friends, that is not necessary. They can just see your face and your kind of facial expressions, and they will know that what you need. But with respect to the systems, we have to be very specific and expressive because then only they will kind of work properly, right? And then I'm just asking for type of output which I want, just clear title, single paragraph which will explain everything about my dish. ingredient list with quantity, and finally step-by-step instructions which anyone can follow in that kind of English, which is nothing but plain English. So of course, model will first ask me what ingredients I have. So these are some list of ingredients which are usually available at our household. And now see the output, how nicely it is structured. First, let's see the template. Title, single paragraph, which is over here. List of ingredients with quantity and step-by-step method. And it also explains me how it has captured the kind of cooking style of Sanjeev Kapoor, Gagan Anand, Vinit Bhatia, right? So on and so forth. And then if you would like to prepare a kind of create a Instagram reel or the YouTube video, you can just go ahead with this setup and prepare it and then right. So I'm not saying without this kind of framework, create framework, you can't get this kind of good quality outcome, but that requires a lot of reiterations. But if you like good prompt, if you're writing prompts properly with this kind of framework, then you can kind of eliminate a lot of time. You can save a lot of time on in those reiterations. Okay. So now next is one more example of this framework is this is very much simple so that everyone can relate with it. It's about summarization. So in this particular case, my request is How to Make Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is a famous book. I just would like to have a summary of it. And I just want 5 bullet points in one sentence summary of this particular book. That's type of output for me. This is a type of output. This is my request. And before all this, I must assign persona. So my persona is highly experienced writer who writes concise. Why concise? Because this is a summarization task and readable text without stop words, filler words, or jargon. And you can see the outcome that it's following so nicely that 5 important points from this particular book which I can adapt even without reading the book. But it's all not necessary that this is what I am interested in. Even though it's written by me, I can just say this is too much. Instead of this, let's focus on actionable thing. So I can just say give me 15 actionable points instead of 5, and then it's going to give me simple but important things like smile, be a good listener, remember the name of the person, right? And then you will be able to make friends very easily. One more interesting feature of ChatGPT, I'm not sure how many of you use it, but for example, if you would like to have some kind of more discussion of a particular point, you can just select that particular point and then just ask ChatGPT about it, right? For example, I can just say expand this based on the book, right? Something like this, and then I will get detailed explanation. ChatGPT is writing right now, but I'm not going there just to save time because I want to demonstrate something else also with respect to this thread. But that's the nice feature of it. So I can also reiterate, like in only explain 3 important points and give at least one paragraph so that I can appreciate it even more. But now let me give you one more example with the same prompt. I have given a lot of details about Sachin Tendulkar, kind of his entire Wikipedia page I have copied over here. And let's see the outcome of the same prompt. Let me try to kind of scroll very quickly so that we can see the response. And you will be surprised that whatever things we can imagine whenever we hear about Sachin Tendulkar, those things have been captured. First thing which comes to my mind is God of Cricket, right? So that is captured over here. And again, many number of centuries, if I'm not wrong, 100 centuries. So that is over here, right? Highest run scorers across all format, that also comes in our mind. Started very early, right? Nowadays we talk about Vaibhav Suryavanshi also, right? So Sachin Tendulkar started at the age of 16 and career span was 24 years, right? So we can see also he was part of course, a World Cup winning team, that so on and so forth. So how nicely it has captured the important aspects of this particular article, right? So that's right. And if someone asks you just one sentence about Sachin Tendulkar, then this can be very well that particular sentence. Okay. And there are other examples also. Like for example, if I am having this kind of data where so it's loading right now, but it's about reports of kind of I can just say Apple company with respect to sales. And then the create framework will look like this. Yeah, we can have analysis of this report smoothly with respect to this. Okay, fine. So now, okay, so I will just check the chat box also in between in case of any questions. Just let me check. Yeah, okay, fine. So no questions so far. Okay, fine. Okay. So now let me just go ahead. Let me consider some concrete cases which you can apply directly with respect to your work. This is fine. Like I've already given you some intuition with respect to all the I can say sub aspects of this particular framework, create framework. Important things which you should remember is don't overload your prompt. Many of the times you ask too many things in one go. I'm not talking about agents. In the case of agent, it's possible. You can have multiple things done simultaneously, multi-agent system, yet you can have multiple agents. But normally, with respect to within a particular agent, you should be very careful with respect to overloading also, because most of the times what will happen, you should have ability to divide the big task into smaller subtasks. And once the subtasks have been completed, then let's say subtask one will give output to subtask two, and then you have different agent with respect to each subtask, right? So that's how things can work. But okay, so one question is about adjustments. So adjustments are corresponding to, like in my case, if you can recall, then it was corresponding to nothing but I have mentioned that give the measurements in terms of nothing but Indian measures like grams, not in pounds. So that was adjustment. When we talk about email writing, then some kind of adjustments can be limit the email to only three sentences, right? And your tone must be professional yet friendly. And with respect to mathematical example, let's say you are trying to generate a proof of a particular theorem like Pythagoras, then you can just say explain only the theorem and its proof. Don't give me some kind of unrelated. So adjustment is not that important part, but it's mainly there to kill the assumptions of AI. Because if you don't do it, then you won't get exactly the same thing which you want many of the time. So those are the things which don't fit into the rest of the kind of, I can say, subfields, right? So those things will go into adjustments and extras to kill the assumptions of AI, right? Those things you can mention with extras or adjustments so that your output will be more towards what you want. In other words, I can say it's more mainly for personalization. That even if you follow this template, there will be some things which you need to mention, and those things will fall as nothing but adjustments apart from character request and examples. So for example, let me just give you one example of adjustments. Let's say let's create some kind of poem with respect to life of, let's say, nothing but our Indian educators, right? So let me just dictate this. So assume a role of a good writer. I'm repeating one more time. Assume a role of a good Bollywood songwriter who writes very motivational kind of songs or poems with Indian setup. Your task is to explain the journey of Indian educators, starting from his education with respect to PhD degree and post PhD work and challenges associated with faculty role of faculty member, and also make sure that your poem ends with some positive note, and the ending must be beautifully capture the essence of teaching field, and take inspiration from motivational songs from movies like Lakshya, and that's it. So I guess I have captured everything. The role was given, the request is also given, and kind of the sample example is also given. But some things which I have mentioned, which doesn't fall into any of the categories. Like I have mentioned about that your poem must end with some kind of positive note and something like that. So those things will, and for example, I can just say create your poem in Hindi, right? But so maybe we can consider it as a type of output also. But some kind of things we can for example, I can say I want ghazal, right? So that's the kind of adjustments we are doing. Maybe it's in the same prompt, but sometimes we can also reiterate and do those kind of adjustments. Yeah. So we can see this. Yeah. So I'm not saying you can't generate poem directly. You can write and it will give us, if you write vaguely, then also it will give us a response. But here it will be more personalized, because if we just focus on the end, then it's written in bold, right? लक्ष्य नहीं बस मंजिल पाना रास्तों को भी अर्थ देना है ज्ञान की इस पावन यात्रा में हर जीवन को प्रकाश देना है। चलते रहना, सीखते रहना, यही शिक्षक की पहचान है। एक बेहतर भारत के सपनों में उसका ही सबसे बड़ा योगदान है। यू कैन सी हाउ नाइसली इट्स kind of completing, right? And in between, I'm pretty much sure that it has kind of considered the kind of challenges of PhD, right? So as you can see, PhD का सफल था ऐसा जैसे पर्वत चढ़ना हो, कोई सवालों से हर दिन लड़ना और उत्तर मिलना हो थोड़ी थोड़ी। कभी प्रयोग असफल होते, कभी शोध पत्र लौट आते, कभी वर्षों की मेहनत पर भी कुछ शब्द मन को तोड़ जाते, राइट? फिर एक दिन यह क्षण भी आया, नाम के आगे डॉक्टर जुड़ा, पर तब समझा ये अंत नहीं, बस एक नया अध्याय खुला। सो देन इट विल कम अप विथ challenges which I have requested, right? So now that so this is about more about challenges of faculty members, right? So that is covered over here. Yeah, fine. So, so that's how you can see that. And again, it also captures the request which I had made, that make it something similar to Lakshya. Where so that is there. So that's the power of good prompting. Yeah. So that's there. Okay. So let me continue with other aspects of this. Yeah. We have talked about this in detail about with respect to adjustments and all. Let's talk about other issues like kill ambiguity. Instead of saying analyze this, you must be very much specific. That is there. And iterative feedback, like I mentioned, not necessarily in the first go you get what you want. You have to reiterate with refinement, right? You can just say that instead of this, I want this, and then you will be able to see the impact of it. And of course, so let me just go for some kind of examples which you can relate very clearly. For example, if you would like to write a prompt for research gap identification, then these are the sub aspects of your prompt with respect to create framework. You can just go through it and appreciate it, just to motivate you, right? And this requires some efforts, but once you understand the framework and appreciate the results, then it will become your habit, and then you will be able to you will be expert in writing prompts and getting good results for sure. Yeah. So here you can focus on adjustment part. The question was about adjustment. So as you can see, focus only on methodological limitations, missing experiments, narrow data sets, and unclear baseline. These adjustments we can do when we try to capture nothing but research gaps with respect to uploaded papers in some sense. Okay. And extra can be suggest one possible PhD level research problem based on our research gap identification task. This is for literature synthesis, right? So you can just go through this also. Character, request, example, adjustment, output format, extras, right? So this is a template which we are following. Scientific writing improvement, right? So that is over here. Reviewer style feedback, that is over here, right? Sometimes some work is there, we would like to have review. Let's say our own work is there and we would just like to have review of it, then this is there. Adjustments, of course, focus on novelty, technical clarity, experimental strength, reproducibility, and writing quality. Usually based on these parameters only reviewers judge the papers. Yeah. And of course they give this kind of output for sure: strength, weakness, questions for author, and final recommendation. Yeah. Okay, so as we can see right now, I assume that all of you possess some understanding about AI agents for sure. So we have talked about all these things, what agents, memory, tools, planning, reasoning, all these terms you are familiar with them now. So, but if you observe carefully, then on all of them, right? If you how to use or how to connect all these things, we must need instructions which are nothing but we can say prompts. So basically, in one sentence we can say agentic systems are built on top of prompt engineering, not instead of it, right? So prompts are kind of fundamental aspects with respect to design of these systems. And for the same agent, we can do this small experiment. Whatever agent you have prepared for this particular during this particular FDP, you try to change the prompt of that particular agent and apply create framework over there and see the impact in terms of outcome. You will be able to see significant improvement in the outcome for sure. So if we see the evolvement of how prompts evolve, then this slide helps us. So as we have started today, we have started with very basic prompt like this is my blood pressure, suggest me something. Then we have seen structured prompt, which is nothing but create framework. Now I will be talking about very soon about custom GPT, how we can create our own chatbot, right? That was somehow missing. Of course, we can create with the help of agents, and those things have been covered. But if we talk about some kind of standard platforms like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google's Gemini, then how we can do it very smoothly. I'm going to demonstrate that very soon now. And then, so in all these five frameworks or levels we are talking about, without prompting, we can't achieve good results. That is for sure, right? So, and I'm going to showcase you the difference. Like at level one, I've already showcased you that if you write basic prompt versus structured prompt, the response quality changed drastically. With respect to custom GPT, also, I'm going to demonstrate it now. And with respect to agents, we can check it together. Yeah, so that's the idea with respect to the rest of the talk. Yeah. So in summary, if we talk about agentic intelligence, then we must include prompting also. Without that, everything will fall apart. So now, if let me just try to motivate you with respect to importance of custom GPT, customized GPT, and then we'll talk about how we can create such kind of customized GPT, and that too for free. So the idea is AI is development is kind of very rapid, right? So this kind of systems, LLMs and agentic AI domain, they are evolving very fast. So apart from using them, the existing technologies, like apart from using existing LLM models like Chat GPT, what what other things we are doing, right? Apart from also attending this FTP, right? What we are doing. So as per Darwin, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change, right? So AI is changing everything. So what is our response? The first response is we are learning these new technologies. That is the first response. Second response is we are coming up with intelligent ways of using it, right? After learning that these things are existing things with respect to, let's say, LLMs or AI agents. These are the frameworks, right? We have talked about LangChain, LangGraph, so on and so forth. We have talked about automation like Claude or code, right? We have briefly talked about codecs and offline models also, right? So we have talked about offline agents, I should say, right? So all these things we have discussed. So that is our first response. The second response is, can we change the existing model? Can we kind of append the existing models with our own intelligence so that we can come up with something brand new and which can be utilized by others? That's the question. And the response of this is nothing but yes, and it's very easy to do it. And the answer is nothing but custom GPT, right? So, what's the custom GPT? In simple words, it's like your intelligent prompt plus nothing but I can just say your private knowledge. So, let me give you one simple example. What I'm trying to convey over is that let's say for a particular task, your prompt is working very nice. And because you have some kind of expertise which is not there with others. So what you can do is you put that particular prompt as well as some your kind of internal knowledge, your personal knowledge, which is just with you, in and you make that particular knowledge hidden, right? Others can't see your prompt or your knowledge, but they will be able to interact with the I should say, interface which you have created, just in which they don't need to write the prompt because you have written prompt for them, and they don't need to upload those knowledge files because you have done it, and they will be able to utilize this particular facility. So basically, you have made your kind of interface public so that anyone can come and utilize the service which you are providing to others, right? So that's the objective of custom GPT, where you are coming up with some kind of your specialized knowledge with respect to prompting also, with respect to your personal I can say intelligence also, and then you are offering it to general audience, right? So that's the idea of custom GPT. Of course, you can make it private also, and you can use it as to avoid repetitively writing prompt also. That is also one more use case of it. For example, all of you can have create one custom GPT which will reply to your own email, right? Whatever emails you are getting on your inbox, you can just paste those emails over there, and your custom GPT will generate a response for it. But that is just to save time with respect to prompting. But ideally, custom GPTs must be designed with the point of view of others, and you should make it public so that others can utilize it. Okay. So let me. I guess I've already explained Python ki Pathshala in my previous talk. So over here I won't take much time, but let me just revisit this very briefly since we are talking about custom GPT. So very briefly, I'm going to talk about this. So this is one custom GPT. This is how it will look. So you won't be able to see what is the prompt written by me for this and what knowledge base is there. So I've uploaded my Google Colab notebooks over here. I have written one nice prompt with respect to a lot of facilities which is being offered by this particular custom GPT. So let me just try to kind of highlight one of its biggest I can say novel aspect of it, which is nothing but like story creation. So for example, if I just write my name is Maipal, I like this particular movie, let's say Three Idiots, but I am not very good with, let's say, functions of Python programming. So then what it will do for student Maipal, it will connect ideas or characters of Three Idiots movie with concepts of functions, and it will create the stories scene by scene. Okay, and by default, the response will come in Hindi. So you can see the enjoy is coming, right? And this is one of the famous dialogue of the movie, right? Kabil bano, kamyabi, jak maar ke piche aayegi, right? So that is coming over here. And now how this is related to nothing but Python functions, and then that has been discussed over here. And then some other metaphors are also coming. Virus is also coming, yeah, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So I'm not going into the details. If you are interested, you can just go through this. But the other thing is like if I just write E, then response will be converted into English. So now, depending upon your subject and your requirement, you can write prompt accordingly. So in my prompt, I must have written somewhere that for E, you must convert the previous response into English, and for EH, you must convert the previous response into English, right? So on and so forth. So those kind of things will be there in the background, but you won't be able to see it. But you will be able to kind of interact with this. So for example, over here, you can see it's also recommending some videos. So if I click over here, so it will directly land to
In the
my
rupees 9
particular
workshop that you're providing, what all
YouTube
do you cover?
channel.
In 9 rupees, you'll learn how
So
to automate your reports, how
sorry
to
for
automate your
this ad, but after that, you will be able to see the video from my channel itself, right? So that's the idea of this custom GPT. So now the next question is how we can build this custom GPT for free, right? So let me just share the link of this Python ki Pathshala first with you, and then straight away I will share one platform where we can create GPT for free, and also we can share it with our students, right? So that's the objective now. And meanwhile, you can mention a topic on which you would like to create a GPT. So I will create GPT for that particular topic or for that particular subject which you are going to mention. Okay. So the platform which we are going to use is Gemini, right? So in Gemini, right? So if I pick first three words of Gemini, then it's Jam. So in Gemini, it's called Jam, but in Chat GPT, it's different. In Chat GPT, I need to pick the last three words, which are nothing but GPT. Right? So in Chat GPT, we say it's custom GPT. In Gemini, we say it's Jam, but both the things are exactly same. They solve the same purpose, right? So that's the idea of this terminology, right? So don't worry about it. The idea is same. Whether you are using Gemini or ChatGPT, you can create custom GPT for any of the platforms. Yeah. And any suggestion about the topic? I'm just looking at the chat. You can just mention some topic on which you would like to create custom GPT. So I will pick that particular topic. That is my request. You can write any topic or subject which you are teaching. So I will try to create custom Jam or GPT for on the same topic. Anyone? Okay. Otherwise, I will pick something from my side. So I will just okay biometrics. Okay, so biometrics is too specific. It's a topic or subject which you are teaching. Can you provide some more details about it? biometrics. Okay, so let me just go to ChatGPT and ask it about it. Uh, Okay, contactless fingerprint recognition. Okay, okay, fine. So, mm, okay, so let me explain first way of doing so, and then I will talk about other ways. So, let's say, okay, assume a role of an expert from the biometrics domain, and you know all the state of the art developments with respect to this particular domain. You explain very difficult concepts associated with this particular contactless fingerprint recognition system in very easy to understand manner to students. Your task is to identify some of the latest issues in with respect to learning of this particular domain and address those issues in terms of custom GPT. So now your final task is to give me the instructions which I can copy paste with respect to creation of a custom GPT which can solve the top four issues which Indian students are facing with respect to this particular domain. Okay, let's see what it says. I'm doing this because I don't have much expertise in this particular subject, but ideally you must observe that what is going on with respect to your particular subject, and you know better than AI for sure about this kind of issues, right? So it's talking about issues which are there with respect to this particular problem, technological gap, so on and so forth. But I am interested in instructions, right? So let's just copy paste this particular instructions. We are not going into too much details as of now, and then we'll see that how this kind of our gem is going to respond with respect to this particular instruction set. So now I'm going to this, and let me just paste this particular instructions over here. And right, so I'm just going to say biometric teacher, right? Let's just say this is the name of the gem. So you can, so this is my prompt. Okay, ideally you should write it, you should follow create framework or similar kind of other framework which you are comfortable with, and you must think about the challenges. You can take help of ChatGPT or Gemini to understand the challenges, but the final say must be of yours. But for now, just to save time, I'm doing like this. And in knowledge, you can see you can do a lot of things. You can add, upload files, you can upload something from your drive, you can also give some kind of code. You can have this in learning mode also, right? So that is also there, right? So those kind of things you can, guided learning is there, as you can see. But for now, I'm just going ahead with the default thing because my instruction set is anyway kind of very much detailed. So I know I don't want to kind of go to those kind of modes. So then I will just click on save. Okay, and then we will interact with this. But before save, you should kind of play with this just to in preview mode. As you can see, in preview mode, you are going to get responses, and if you feel that your responses are not up to the mark, then you can of course modify your prompt. But for now, let's just interact with it, right? So our jam is ready. You can see how easy to create this kind of custom GPT, and I believe that each educator must have one jam or one custom GPT for his or her subject, and it must be shared with your students. You can imagine what other things you can upload in this particular jam, and how they will get benefit out of it. Yeah. So over here, I can just say I'm beginner. Uh, I don't know about biometric systems. Explain me top three concepts of this uh, topic. Let's see what it does. So mainly I'm interested in seeing the tone and styling of this particular response, because that will decide how successful this particular GPT will be. So yeah, so it's doing some thinking, which is good. Yeah, so and soon we'll be able to see some response. And then I request Dr. Pooja to tell us that whether the response is making sense or not, right? But for now, we are just waiting for it. Maybe the thinking mode was on, so therefore it's taking some more time. I can click on answer now, and then the answer will be generated very quickly. But let's see, because we have already waited. So let's see. So let's see now. So the first concept is contactless image acquisition. Okay, so that is there. What is the intuition? Real world analogy. Yeah. Oh, so this is good. It is exactly like scanning a UPI QR code at a local chai shop. You do not physically touch the QR code poster. Your mobile camera captures the data from a distance. Right. So that's the first intuition. Even it's giving this kind of visual explanation, which is good. Mathematical formulation is also coming. Okay, good. Then Python implementation. Right. So we are also getting implementation. Then this is the second one, region of interest. Yeah. Dr. Pooja can tell us, right, whether this is making sense or not. But for me, at least, it makes sense. As per my understanding, all these things are correct with respect to this domain. Yeah. So you can see how powerful this underutilized, and still the response is going on, as you can see. And it has come up with this kind of nice, I should say, visualization also, right? So this kind of thing is coming up, right? I'm not sure what it is, but it is some kind of small app which we can demonstrate to students for sure. Yeah. So so this is very good, I must say. And especially the responses are have been improved a lot since the launch of the latest model, right, which you can see over here, right? If I'm not wrong, it's a 3.5 flash, right, which has been launched very recently by Google, and therefore we could see this kind of response. Yeah. So now next thing is how you can share this with others. Just a second, let me try to refresh this. Yeah, okay, fine. So if I go to my gems, Dr. Pooja, can you just write your email address in the chat box if it is fine? Because I just would like to demonstrate that how we can share this with others. Yeah. So I will just share this with you so that so you can see. Okay, so yeah, so that option is there. Like I can just write the name of ma'am and share it with her. And one more option is also there, anyone with the link. So in that particular case, anyone can interact with it. If I am going ahead with this particular setup where viewer is there, but instead of viewer, if I'm giving editor rights, then all of you will be able to change the kind of prompt also. But for now, I'm just going to give viewer rights, and let me just copy the link of this particular GPT and let me click on done. And then if I share this, then all of you will be able to kind of interact with it. Yeah. So that's the idea of this gem creation. And if I specifically share this with let's say uh, uh, Pooja ma'am, then okay, so maybe I can just copy her address from over here. That will be easy. Yeah. So then only she will be able to kind of access it with respect to editor mode. So for example, over here, if I just saying, yeah, so then I can give rights of editor to her. So if it may possible that same subject is being taught by multiple faculty members, so then this kind of setup also you can do, where you are allowing your co-faculty members to join and modify the gem, right? Now, similar kind of thing you can also do, as per my knowledge, even in the free version of ChatGPT, right? So you can just go over here to nothing but I should go over here, explore GPT. So here you will get all the free custom GPTs which are designed by others, right? You can also see the ranking of them in some sense, so which GPTs are trending. And then you can search, like for example, if you search Python plus Hindi, then you will get my GPT, which is there. Right. It will take some time because there are more than 3 lakh GPTs over here. So it will take some time to search, but it's there. So now let's see how to create over here. It's very much similar. You can see name, instructions, right? I'm not going to repeat it just to save time. But over here, one more interesting thing is there, which is nothing but conversational starters. So conversational starters means buttons. So many of the times, just like frequently asked questions or some kind of shortcuts, right? Whenever you press one, like long press one, and then automatically call, like in your cell phone, you can have this kind of speed dial thing that you long press on one, and then automatically the phone will be connected to your closed one. Yeah, maybe your father or mother or right spouse. So over here we have this kind of shortcuts. Like if I write data structures over here, so that means queries related to data structures. So I should have something sensible over here. For example, let's say this is for again, let me pick some kind of such subject. Let's say discrete mathematics. I'm designing this for discrete mathematics. Then I can just write something sensible over here. Like conversation starter will be like um, explain um, ideas of, let me pick some subject or some topic of discrete mathematics. Let's say ideas of graph theory in, or maybe it should be very much specific, like explain, let's say, Chinese reminder theorem, something like this. So now student don't need to write this entire thing. He or she will just click on this button and automatically the prompt will be given to the our custom GPT like that. Right? So I can have four those kind of frequently asked questions over here, right? From with respect to this particular subject, like maybe something related to predicate logic, yeah, whatever it is, yeah. So and maybe practice problems from, right, whatever you need, right, you need to, right. So those kind of shortcuts you can, and as you can see, as I'm changing this buttons, my interface is also changing. They are showcasing those buttons, and the interface is showcasing those buttons, and then I will be able to just the user will be able to just click on them and get the response, right. So that's the idea of this custom button. And of course you have some other actions also, you can connect it with API and all. But even in the basic version, that you can accomplish a lot of things just by, this is the power of prompting, right? You don't need any expertise with respect to Python or anything. Just with prompting you can create nice custom GPTs and then utilize it. Yeah, so I will just share the link of this available GPTs also, so you can just check them out, right? So let me just try to demonstrate very quickly some of the most important ones. Like Scholar GPT is one of the most important, yeah, because it has access to this 200 million plus resources, like mainly research papers, right? So for example, if I say latest developments in agentic AI field since last, let's say, 1 year, right? And then it should give me some kind of uh, research papers for sure. So let's see. So it has captured this properly, that from what duration we are talking about. Yeah, and then first it's giving me this summary, and these are the developments, and of course it's also talking about the papers, which is good. And I can explicitly also ask that this is yeah. So now it's giving me this papers. I can say this is good, but give me links of all this papers and at least 15 papers, right? Let's see. Yeah, so then it should be able to give, most likely. Let's see what it does. So that's the power of nothing but custom GPT, I should say. They are specialized. Like, so here I don't need to write like you are expert in identifying research papers or something like that, because that's their expertise anyway, right? They are designed like that. Just like if you are faculty member, I don't need to say that assume a role of a faculty member of computer science or whatever domain it is. Yeah. So now we can see that if I click on this, then it must land on uh, the paper, like survey of autonomous agents, architectures, and emerging applications. Right? So that's there, and yeah, and likewise for all the papers. Yeah. So hallucination we can kill like this. If we go for some kind of experts, then it's very unlikely that they will give us some kind of wrong uh, I should say, output in terms of papers and all. Yeah. Of course, towards the end, we can get this kind of ad also that please rate nicely. Anyways, fine. So this is about this. Yeah, and of course you can explore. There are many, so I won't be able to demonstrate kind of much over here. But you can just check, right? Depending upon your, right? People also use this one AI humanizer to convert the content written by AI and sound it like human, right? Something like that. Right, dailies or that previously it was extremely popular. Nowadays, like anyways, the image generation has been integrated by Gemini and Chat GPT, but previously like people used to come over here more, right? And then there are some others also like song maker GPT, right? And so on. SEO optimization, that is also important, right? Productivity, presentation, right? So on and so forth. So you can just check with respect to education that these are the 6 which are trending as of now. Academic Assistant Pro is a good one that you can try it. And programming, of course, this 6 are trending as of now. We can also check, right, whether something related to agentic AI already there or not, or AI agents I could write. Let's see what it gives just to check. Yeah, so we can see that some agentic AI engineer, right? But they are not that popular as of now. Only 100 plus interactions have been. This one is decent, 1000 plus interaction. Yeah. So like, and you can just check that what it has to offer. Right. So this is the use of button that I clicked on the first button and the prompt is went as you can see. And yeah, of course it will answer. Yeah. That's providing minimal structure also, which you can utilize. Yeah. And reiterate, right? So they will kind of help you, right, for some specific tasks, right? You can explore as per your interest. There are no specific rules for this. Yeah. Okay, so let me continue with my presentation. Okay, so this is about this. And then, of course, there will be benefits, which is very much clear, but you must have some kind of, does it show? Yeah, Sangeeta ji, in the free version, you can access them for sure. It's an unpaid thing. I've already shared the link in the chat, uh, so you can just check it. So it's more about if you are confused, then you can just do this. You can just go to chatgpt.com and slash GPTs. That's it. And you will get this particular window. And there, here, from here, you can access all the kind of gems, I should say custom GPTs. So there is a difference between gem and custom GPT in some sense. I hope I'm audible properly. Can anyone confirm? Okay, thank you. So the difference is in Gemini, unfortunately, there is no gem store like this where people can create their own GPT or own gem and publish like this. Whereas over here, in the case of Chat GPT, this is kind of differentiating factor where people can launch their own custom GPT and also you can use any of the existing custom GPT for free if you don't want to create something. Like for example, like I already mentioned about Python ki Pathshala, but anything, right? For example, if I have something related to Excel, I can just write Excel and it will recommend me some uh, GPTs which are available on Excel, and I can check the review before going into the that particular custom GPT. Yeah. So as you can see, we have Excel AI with 3 million plus interactions supported. Yeah. So if you have anything related to Excel, you can ask it instead of asking normal chat GPT. Yeah. So that's the idea. Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you. So let's continue. So this was about this particular characteristics of custom GPT, which I'm mentioning, but make sure about privacy aspects also. You should be careful while you design this kind of GPT that make sure it answers only associated with the domain or the topic which you are talking about, not about some other things. So that is there. And these are some of the famous custom GPTs. Yeah. And I've already covered Python ki Pathshala and Scholar GPT. And what is the prompt? I haven't shown, but how to write, I've of course shown with respect to informatics, I should say domain bioinformatics. And over here, you can see what can be the private data. Like for example, Scholar GPT, we know 200 million plus scholarly articles. It has access to PDFs, research metadata, so on and so forth. So the important components are nothing but your prompt along with personalized knowledge which you are going to provide here. You can also have your own personal research assistant which can do this kind of things like understanding of the paper, research gap identification, methodology, brainstorming, refinement of the draft, so on and so forth. And these are suggested instructions with respect to creation of this kind of research custom GPT. Yeah. The task has been mentioned, and other things are nothing but always try to follow this particular create framework. That's what we have uh, suggested to it. Yeah. And this is the activity which I am recommending to you. I will share the slides with you so you can do this afterwards. Yeah. That's it from my side. Yeah, so I'll be happy to answer the questions if any. And thank you so much for attending this FTP, right? And all of you have attended it very enthusiastically, I must say. And I could notice that you were attending very attentively because towards the end of every session there were a lot of queries, which was motivating for us. Yeah. So any questions about prompting at all? Yeah, we can discuss more. And one more time, my contact details have been shown over here. So in case of any other queries, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and we can discuss afterwards. Yeah. So we will just take break for 5 minutes and then we'll conclude this FTP. All right, we will have one small validatory session, right, where we will also take feedback from you, right? And of course, we will make the last and final quiz available to you, and we will resolve your queries related to attendance or certification, if any. Yeah, so that's the plan for the uh, next maybe 30 minutes or so. Yeah. So I'm just pausing over here. We'll resume after 5 minutes. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Just a second.
Good evening, sir. Atul, sir. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. Good evening.
How are you? So it was a very nice
So-
session, the last session, and
Oh,
you know
thank you, sir.
there is a utility which suggests that you can summarize the. I mean, that's a AI help
Yeah, AI
where you
assistant is
can
there
get that
in WebEx.
summarized,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
as the AI is has very nicely summarized it, and it's appreciating that I mean everything was whichever was relevant was delivered by the speaker. So
yeah.
it's very nice
It,
facility. I mean, if you get out of touch for some time, it can tell
uh,
you like what has happened in between, right? So that's
yeah,
wonderful thing
yes, yes, yes.
which is coming up.
Yes, yes.
Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
Yes. You can share, sir, your thoughts because anyway, I have conducted sessions also, and I'm very much connected with participants. So first, let's hear from you, right, your point of view about this FTP and uh, further on what are the plans with respect to your EICT Academy and yeah,
Yes. So
or
first
your
of all,
suggestions in general, yeah, with participations and all, yeah.
yeah, first of all, I must congratulate you guys. I mean, doing excellent job. It's a
Thanks.
fantastic topic and very relevant one. Obviously, this is like kind of a little advanced because it requires certain background, right? People which are not familiar with machine learning or transformers, they definitely will be might have struggled here. But the point is like getting inevitable. It's a kind of the coming word is going to be more and more organized on these lines. So even if you don't follow up all of that, but then you are aware of that what is going to come and how exactly it is going to get organized and going to deliver the kind of systems that we are expecting in the future. And I must tell you, like you combine a very good mix of speakers. That is speakers
Thank you, sir.
from like academia and people like you and people from industry. So it's definitely a very encouraging highlight of this program, and we need this kind of programs where not only we emphasize on how it works and give some classroom examples, but then in practice how those concepts are being like implemented and adopted, right? And I must tell you one other thing is like sticking to the time. I mean, you started with in time. Almost every day, I mind that if the session is started, and I seen that the session was started at the time and ended at the right time, and then there were resources which were shared, the question answer sessions, the chat sessions. I admire that you people uh, facilitated that kind of interaction in this program, and the kind of technology that you have, like the WebEx and the kind of internet speed that you probably maintain is like has been largely up to the mark. I mean, no glitches, if I can see that. So overall, I mean, this was a nice course. I tried to attend some of the lecture, obviously not all of them, but then I saw a speaker delivering to the content and taking questions as and when people were pinging them. So that's not easy in this kind of arrangement. And you also like shared that on YouTube. So that's wonderful. I mean, a live streaming, and I guess these recordings are going to be there for
Yes.
almost all the time.
They will
So
remain available. Yes, yes, yes. They will be able to access it afterwards also. Yeah, we are going
absolutely.
to share the
So
playlist.
so if any of us would like to like review it again, right? Want to go to it one more time or any number of times there for that matter. I mean, they have this recordings available on a particular address. So that address is not going to change.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
important. And I must
So
thank
this is
our
yeah,
participants also. I mean, this has been a kind of I mean, we thanks our speakers for sparing their time from their busy schedule. But I must tell you, like the participants also, like kind of busy people, they have a lot of work at their end, and they're finding there some time to attend this course and learning from this. So it's a big thing, right, for a country like India. That's excellent stuff that if we are managing these kind of courses in this fashion. So congratulations to all participants who have made most of this kind of course. And I'm sure that in this arrangement, we are going to conduct more courses and will ensure a successful interaction even sitting at distant locations. So all credits to the organizers. And Saula sir has joined. I
Yeah, yes,
know
sir.
him for quite some time, and he has been taking a lot of initiatives. And I must tell, sir, that EICT Academy at MNIT Jaipur is doing good, great, in fact. And by this arrangement, I think the whole purpose, that the way this whole setup was started, the first phase and the second phase, I am sure that we are going to deliver to the expectation of whosoever the stakeholders are. So I once again thank you, all of you, your team, all the organization and the team behind that. Wonderful job. And I hope that there will be many more such programs will be conducted at different levels of like details. And as I said, this was a kind of slightly higher level, though you people have gone into much more depth than I expected. But then still, there are some maybe arrangement just like the Coursera, where we pack some courses and sequence them, that this is the first of the 4 course specialization.
Yeah,
I think that that's the kind of things that you started already.
yes, yes.
So if the participants are given enough information about that, then they can make most of that information. So thank you very much. And I take a pause here. We have got Saula sir joined, so let's
Yes,
hear from
special
him.
thanks to Professor Vinit Sahula. So all the facilities, and you were mentioning about internet speed and this particular nice workflow where we have this WebEx AI assistant, and also YouTube. All this has been kind of integrated and under the guidance of Professor Vinit Sahula. Also, he has motivated us to propose FDPs in this emerging domain. So thank you so much, sir, for always encouraging us and guiding us, and whenever we had any kind of issues, right, he's always available for guidance and helping us. Yeah. Please, sir, please share your thoughts related to this FTP. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mahipal. Thanks, Professor Atul Gupta sahab, ki I think I see it as a collaborative effort between all academies. The results are actually to all 7 academies who are joining for these kind of programs. And thanks for joining today also. Thanks to all the speakers who have agreed to share their valuable time. And I hope participants would have got benefited. Special thanks to Dr. Mahipal Jadeja, because he has taken work for actually conceptualizing, writing its contents, contacting speakers, and also keeping all participants informed of each step and activities that way. I think special thanks to him. And another coordinator from our institute, Dr. Dinesh Gopalani, is not present today. Professor Atul Gupta, another principal coordinator from other academies also. And special thanks to Director Professor N.B. Padi sahab, because he has been actually motivating us and giving us a full freedom to go ahead with our own ideas to choose such programs, conceptualize them, and of course the funding from ministry that way. I'm not like even a medium starter in this field, but I do know some theoretical aspects of data science and mathematical structures behind AI. I would like to go through this course maybe later because I could not attend that part. Professor Gupta has even made me more interesting because he says that the course was in depth. So this makes me even more enthusiastic to go through all the videos later. We are happy to serve the cause of education, and if participants are benefited, please go back to your institutes, start up some activities related to this kind of a field, maybe just a small module in a course, maybe just a small workshop at your institute to apprise your colleagues and your senior students. Maybe you can float another BTech, MTech project in this field, or even organize some FDP in that related field or applications that way. That will actually be spreading this effort and making it more broad-based, that kind of a thing. Thank you again, Dr. Mahipal. Thanks, Professor Gupta, and for being with us through the program. And thanks for your contribution as a PC principal coordinator. Thank you very much. I hope participants would have learned, got benefited from the speaker's interaction. Please do not forget to fill the feedback form. The link will be shared by Dr. Mahipal or our academy very soon. And we'll also float the complete content of the program on the Moodle within a day or two. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Saula. Now, I would like participants, right, if any one of you would like to say something about with respect to this particular FTP, then you can just raise your hand. We will unmute you so that you can share your feedback. And feel free to share your thoughts. This will also help us in organizing our future FDPs and programs. In case of any suggestions or feedback, you can just raise your hand. We can see a lot of comments in the chat box. But in case if someone would like to give detailed feedback, then he or she can just raise the hand.
Yeah, some comments about like regarding the materials which is to be shared at one place.
Yes, yes. So
PPT,
like
PDF.
Saula sir has mentioned, we will post it on Moodle and share that access very soon, within couple of days, right? So all the participants will receive an update with an email with respect to one place where they will be able to find all the slides, along with, of course, that link of the recording. Yeah. So what I request is, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, participant are the evaluator. I mean, they can tell, we can. And it is the right people will be the participants who will share the genuine thought about like how was the program and what did they like and what they did not like and those kind of things. So yes, any participant would like to say anything, I mean, you are most welcome, and it is your feedback which is making much of a sense here and helping us to improve further. And those feedback only we have reached to at this stage. So it's the feedback that matters.
And also, Dr. Sangeeta would like to say something, and also Dr. Neena. So we are going to unmute you. Dr. Neena, you can go ahead.
Yes, so I was actually hesitating, sir, because I have not attended all the sessions. I did attend most of them, and I come from a management institute. But because whenever even if we are teaching the management aspects, it is it is a good idea to have a very good technical understanding. In fact, I was hesitating in attempting the quiz also, but when I attempted, I really knew most of it. But the sessions were really, really good. A few which I have not attended when things were very technical, because I don't need that for my teaching. So those are some of those that I've skipped. But the end-to-end coverage that you have had of the course is exemplary. Thank you so much. It is much beyond the expectation that I had from the course. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next, Dr. Sandeep.
So what I have got the feeling of, like, the people will say good words towards in the valedictory, but we would like to listen more of, like, caution or kind of something which you missed, something you would like to get that to the next level, or
Sure.
so there is Amit Kumar is there.
Yeah. First, Dr. Sangeeta, and then we'll hear from Dr. Amit. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay,
And then
so
then Vandana also. Vandana. Yeah. Just go ahead.
so just I'm going to give.
Yeah,
So
sure,
this
sure.
is, yeah, very good short-term course, and it is very good elaborated, and it was very in-depth knowledge sharing. So I am basically MBA data science, but yeah, so the way it was going, so I was paying full attention, but yeah, something I need to revisit again, to look at the videos again, to grasp entirely. So it was wonderful course, nicely designed, content was extremely well. So I really appreciate such kind of course in future, and that was very well delivered, and yeah, there is no word to say, miss, it is excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, Sangeeta ji, and then Vandana ji. Sangeeta ji and Vandana ji, both of you are panelists, so you can unmute yourself and speak.
Good evening, everyone. It's really been very nice to have this session. Only we can get all repository in one place, like including recording and codes and all. So that will be good, because EICTA generally provides it for a year through their portal. So during sessions also I requested. It was really a great session. All sessions were really great and full of information. And I look forward more sessions to join.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the Sangeeta ji.
So I am looking at the chat and I see appreciation for you, Dr. Mahipal and Dr. Nikunj, and people did like the way of explanation and the presentation and the material that you covered. Excellent.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Also, like, I am Abdul Hamid Abdullahi, and I am from Nigeria. I study here at one university, Swarnim University, in Gujarat.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I learned about this program through Dr. Nikunsa.
Okay.
So yeah, he's the one who sent us the link to be able to register for this. And I want to say, like, it is amazing, actually, especially for us foreigners. Like, it is somewhat hard for us sometimes to get somebody who has good accent, good English accent, that if he explains something, we can easily grasp and understand it. So, especially Mr. Jajeda, I cannot pronounce the name correctly. Yeah, his English was very good, just like Nkunt. And we have learned a lot from it. Me and my
Thank you
friend
so much.
also. And
We'll
we
keep on
really
sending you information about our future FTPs too, so that you can join again.
You said?
Yeah, we will share information about our future FTPs also to you, right, so
Okay,
that you
thank
can join again.
you very much. It has been
Thank you.
amazing and we had a wonderful learning experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
And
much.
we hope for more from you. So anytime you want to do some kind of this thing, please let us know. You can talk to Dr. Nikunsa. We are with him all the time. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
So maybe I'm able to see one suggestion. Then can we have some such FDP, especially for educator? So maybe a slightly low pace kind of program where people like you can even take it in more details and have some smaller problems to be like formulated and given as exercises. Some part you take yourself and some part you give as exercises. So possibly our academic set of people might be more benefited from that.
Of course, right, we can focus more towards the specific applications with respect to academics only, so that everyone can relate even more. So that we can plan in the future. But for now, this technology is kind of very much emerging. So first, we have to make sure that at least the basic frameworks have been kind of understood by everyone before we go for those kind of specific things. Yeah, but it's a very nice suggestion, and we can plan some kind of focused FDP in future with respect to education domain for sure, Sangeeta. Yeah, now you can speak. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. I think I have no words of appreciation. I think everyone has appreciated quite a lot. And I would just, because Professor Atul has also been suggesting, that we provide more, specific feedback. So, yeah, I mean, if we name all the sessions, of course, Dr. Nikunj session, Dr. Jadeja session, even yesterday's session, Hari Krishna Maladi. I mean, all the speakers, Anmol from Google, Dr. Satyendra, doctors, initially we had Dr. Dinesh Goplani also to start with. So all the sessions, I think I've missed a couple of names, but maybe all the sessions I attended, and they were all so fine-tuned and very well organized and, orchestrated. And one thing, like I said, that for all the educators, because AI, for academicians, AI is a boon also. It's a kind of double-edged sword. And I have seen in my interactions at various, colleges and, that, people do not have, even faculty do not have a complete, the right kind of, understanding and attitude towards AI. Either they are in denial mode, or they are kind of insecure, or they are like, wondering how to tap it. And or sometimes it's just a, I'm sorry to say, very mediocre kind of, approach, that, just, so can we do, how to use it creatively? Because some of the speakers here, I mean really we got some good ideas. And I think we need to really together brainstorm that at what level we are going to utilize it. Are we going to just utilize it as a user, just like a student or anybody, or at a or very superficial level? Because AI has immense potential, but it depends on at what level we, utilize it. So like Professor Jadeja also was trying to show today, through his examples of prompt engineering, and how we can set the context, and how we can delve deeper and deeper and deeper. So I myself generated some very deep profound conversations, using AI. And so there's immense potential, and I really wish that I'm actually from statistics and multidisciplinary background. So I am also wanting to associate with some such efforts. So if I can help in any way in structuring this kind of a thing, I would be more than happy to do it with any of the faculty members, because I really want to have, kind of tap into this resource, and how to use it for our educators in a creative way. Because even in the best of institutions, I've seen people, not everybody is very creative. It's like more like people are, others are setting the tone. We come and they come to us with some lag or something, and then we try to copy it, and we try to recreate it, or we try to implement it and first understand it, and then see in a limited way how it helps us. But how can we be kind of more innovative? How can we be more creative? How can we be more proactive, in utilizing and in even creating some of these things. I mean, these are some of the thoughts that come to my mind. I want to, and like Professor Atul was suggesting, we can have some modular, courses, for various levels. That would also be a great idea. Depending on the purpose of each cohort. Some could be, those who are completely, unknown to machine learning or deep learning, those kind of things. So we can have certain kind of sessions for them, and then there could be some more advanced users. Some could be only interested in educators, being an educator. So like Professor Jadeja was showing today about GPTs, and so those kind of things. So I really liked his idea that every instructor should have at least some custom GPTs created and utilized, given to their students to share. So this is a very proactive and positive way to utilize AI, rather than feeling defensive about it, because many of the teachers unfortunately are very defensive about it. They are like, okay, or they are not doing much. They are saying, okay, students are doing themselves, they are not attending classes, there is AI, तो वो उससे पढ़ लेते हैं, एग्जाम दे देते हैं, बस हो जाता है उनका काम. So they are not looking at it, like how they can actually take the plunge. It's not a
Dr.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate your feedback and quite insightful, uh, insightful of like how the AI is kind of like you experimented yourself, and you
Yeah.
know that when you given the different kind of prompts and you share more detail about it, and then you got a different response or even like improved response. So now use AI to that level. I mean, you need to improvise also, right? It's just not
Exactly.
the AI will do everything for you. It's like we need to scale up. I mean, we need to take ourselves to a next level.
Exactly.
So it's definitely it's a kind of positive note, because it is helping us to think better. It is helping us to better organize our thought, our problem solving skills, the way we communicate. I mean, everything is kind of going to get a feedback, an instant feedback on that how good you can get to. So that's wonderful. I mean, yes, and I believe that those people who once start getting into, like, get motivated and enthusiastic, that it is not a negative tone. I mean, it is a positive tone here.
Yeah.
I just thank you, Dr. Sangeeta and Professor Atul. So I just want to add. So I feel that there are three different phases, like things with the help of AI, which we can do even before we enter into the class, like just like custom PPTs, which are kind of helping us. They are kind of our virtual assistant in some sense. Second phase will be what things we can do while we are teaching in the classroom, how we can bring AI over there. And third will be like after the class, like how we are utilizing AI for taking kind of feedback and evaluating understanding of our students. And later on also, of course, we can go for some kind of automation. Like I had earlier designed one kind of script using which we can automatically send marks to all of our students with respect to their midterm or end term scores. And then we can bring personalization that at every level, right? So those are the things on which we can plan. But like you have mentioned, it's not one can say very straightforward, because with respect to every discipline we have to think. It's not like that we if I plan something with respect to, let's say, one particular domain like mathematics, then it will work for something like English, right? So it's a challenging as well as exciting thing to kind of think of.
Sir, I totally agree with you. Like, because there are different domains, and every domain or discipline has its own peculiarities and nuances. But at the same time, I was just having it in my mind that can we design some kind of workflow where for an educator, some best practices. Because
Yeah.
what I've seen, even in Europe and so many other universities, they have actually, they're designing an AI integrated system.
Yeah.
So
So
rather
they're
than, we
also
have been still
working more on
struggling, we have been
AI
still kind of,
policies.
unsure that,
Yeah.
kind of, how AI is going to impact, or how it is, and we can kind of, don't proactively, we are not doing. I feel that most of our institutions, I've been a dean, I've been a principal also, so we are not very proactively, developing our systems with the integration of AI. So
Yeah.
can we develop an AI integrated education system? Can we
That is
think
the need
towards
of
that?
that must be there. But like you are saying, there are no specific frameworks as of now which
Yes.
guides us with respect to some
Yeah.
guidelines that this must be the steps. Each and everyone is trying to do by his or her own thinking at some level.
Yeah.
That is
Right.
not so
Voluntarily,
very
people are
evident.
doing.
Yeah, that is
So if we can think on those lines, and if you, I'm sure you are you are experts in this area, so you might come up with some such, modules and something we can brainstorm together. I'm more than happy to, maybe talk in detail. I think this is not the right platform maybe now to digress. It will be kind of lot of digression. But I had lot of, things and, in the things and the pipeline on these lines. So we can probably discuss offline or differently.
sure. Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other comments or feedback? So from my side, I would just like to add that we have shared a lot of resources with respect to slides as well as GitHub repository. So whenever you get time, I request you to revisit those recordings, slides, as well as try to recreate those codes, try to design agents by yourself. Then only you will be able to appreciate and understand. If you just watch and kind of focus on a particular FTP, that is just first part. The second part, that is learning part, has been kind of completed, I can say. But until and unless you apply, you try to design by yourself, then only you will be able to appreciate the beauty of the underlying frameworks and how those tiny things works and what is the significance of those kind of installation part also. Like many of the times you get error because you don't import the corresponding libraries, right? So those things will become clear once you do so, and you can just start your day with this simple thought that can I bring AI over here? That whenever you have any kind of task, you can just ask yourself, can I have AI integration with respect to some kind of automation with respect to that task? And most of the times the answer will be yes. And of course, I request you to ignore the tasks which requires human intelligence or critical thinking. But for the rest of the things, you can ask yourself and then go ahead with the kind of understanding and utilizing of technological advancements. Yeah. And with that, I guess if Saula sir or Atul sir, if you would like to add something.
Yeah, I think you got a lot of good feedback. I was looking for some not so good feedback, but it was not
Actually,
there at
we
all.
tried
So
our best to not
again,
receive those kind of feedback. In the initial days, that it took a lot of efforts to come up with syllabus of this particular imaging domain, as well as to kind of come up with a lineup of speakers who are good with respect to their expertise, and we tried our best. And we also got support from. Thank you.
it was a good experience, and hope that it will get better
And
with
also good
time.
participants like Dr. Sangeeta, I must say, because I was there in most of the sessions, and in every session she was asking a relevant, important question. Right? Thank you for that also, ma'am. Yeah. We will take feedback from one last participant, Dr. Amit, before we conclude here. And also we'll hear from Professor South. Yes, Dr. Amit, you can go ahead here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for opportunity. So, I have actually one question outstanding in chat, but I would say MNIT FDPs are like my best, place to go for any kind of like theoretical knowledge or the knowledge I need to learn from grounds up. Be- Because I'm a working professional, I use all these technologies every day in my day job, you know. So. So this FTP has been amazing. I learned a lot. Um, but one feedback I would like to give you is most of the time I'm not able to watch the live session. So when my day starts, I start in YouTube sessions. And what happened? Some of the time I have seen like professors who delivered the previous session, they immediately start where they stop, So I would say, or maybe my humble advice is when we start a day, probably just spend 5 minutes recapping what happened last session, and then from there on they can continue. Because yeah, you lose your train of you have to go back to the episode, listen to that last 5 minutes, orient yourself, and then start watching the new episode. So that was one of the struggle, and that's my like a small suggestion. Hopefully, it will help to
Thank you so much,
make the experience better.
Amitji,
Yeah.
for your wonderful feedback and also suggestion. And we'll keep this in mind, right? From the next time onwards, whenever we organize something, we'll make sure that if a speaker is going to deliver more than one session, then he can spend initial some time, like 5 to 10 minutes, just for a quick revision. Yeah, we'll make sure. Thank you.
That was the
Professor
feedback.
Yeah. Professor
there is a-
Saula, yeah, we would like to hear
Yeah,
from
there is
you now.
another query in the chat about the common certificate. If you have done some
Yes.
4 or 5 courses, that is already planned, and we can award it on the behalf of all the academies. But what we are looking for is to add it to have a more value addition to that certificate. We are trying to onboard AICTE and UGC and maybe NSQF or NCVET, so that there is a added value to the certificate. So
Yes.
please have little more patience. The agenda is on the anvil. We'll just come out with that PG certificate for having completed about 5 to 6 programs, and not only this AI and other also fields that way. But only thing is, let us complete few of our efforts to bring AICT, the other ministry, and NQM, DST, and other people on board, so that there is a added value to this certificate for your own field. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So with this, we conclude this FDP on Agentic AI. Thank you so much for your support. And I would also like to thank Harshit, my PhD student, and also all the staff members of PICT Academy, MNIT, Jaipur, including Ramesh ji, for their assistance, and also from other academies like IIT, Kanpur, and also IIT Jabalpur for their assistance. And I wish all the best with respect to professional as well as personal lives of all the participants. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I take a leave, and I hope that
Thank
it
you.
was.
Yeah, namaskar,
Yeah.
to sir. Thank you, Maripal.
Thank you, everybody.
All the
Thank
best
you
to
for
all the
joining.
participants.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.